In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make an easy pasta dough recipe. This pasta dough recipe you can use to make just about any kind of pasta. If you have attachments to a machine, a pasta machine, it'll work great for that. I will be adding some pasta recipes later on this channel, so make sure you check back off, and better yet, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon. That's going to help notify you when I create new recipes. So let's get going. Well, this is a pretty simple pasta recipe. We're going to be using about 3 or 4 ingredients, some all-purpose flour, a couple of eggs, room temperature, some salt, and some water. A little bit of water just if we need it. Other than that, this is all you need to make homemade pasta. So we're going to start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour. You can sift it if you want. It's not really necessary. What you want to do is you want to make a little bit of a opening here, just kind of like a well, and we're going to break these eggs, and I'm using 2 eggs here for 2 cups of flour. I've seen it with 3 eggs. I like 2. It's just a little less rich. So 2 eggs, 1 per cup of flour, and all we're going to do is we're going to fold it in by hand. I'm going to put a couple of pinches of salt. Okay, and then we're just going to fold it in, break it all up. Okay, just like that. And you'll see that it's going to start coming together. It's not going to be like bread dough. It's going to be a little bit different of a texture. You want it a little bit more wet than a bread dough. So I'm just going to try to pull it together, and then I'll dump it out onto the countertop here, and we'll start working it. Okay, once it starts coming together, as you can see, it looks like it's starting to clump up. So we might have to add a little bit of water here just to give it a little bit more moisture. So we're just going to pour it in. A little at a time. You don't want to go too heavy on it because then you'll lose the texture, and you'll see that it's starting to stick a little bit. That's good. So we're going to work it in. And depending on where you live, you're probably going to need to add or remove water depending on the humidity, because the flour will hold the humidity, or if it's really dry, you're going to need extra water. So, and it's okay if it feels a little drier here. So we're just going to dump that out to the countertop. Okay. And we're just going to start working it here just until it comes together. This is where you have to keep working the ingredients and just keep pressing it together, keep kneading it, keep pressing and pushing, and kind of just work it together. You'll notice that it's going to feel at some points that it's not coming together. It's still kind of grainy and falling apart. At this point, I like to add a little bit of water to my hands as I work the ingredients. Just add a little bit more moisture to make it more pliable and have it stick together. So this way you can regulate the water. This is the hardest part of making the pasta, but it definitely pays off in the final product. Fold in the edges. You guys who want to get in shape and get nice toned arms, this is how you do it. You get nice triceps because of all the pushing. So it's good exercise. You do this a few times a week, I'm sure you won't have to hit the gym anymore. Remember, this is the hardest part of the work here, so you want to keep going. You're almost there. You'll know when you're there when the dough gets nice and smooth and pliable and nice and warm to the touch. What you want to do when you get it to that point here is you want to wrap it in plastic wrap and let it sit for 30 minutes to 1 hour just to kind of relax and come to temperature. It's been about 45 minutes now. I wrapped the pasta dough in plastic, let it sit around. Now it's nice and warm and ready to set. Okay, when you unwrap it, the consistency of the dough, as you can see, should be really smooth. Almost the feel of silly putty or Play-Doh to you older folks out there that have grown up with that, as have I. So remember that you can use this dough to create anything from ravioli to flat pastas like linguine, or even round pastas if you have the attachments for it. We're going to put some flour on the counter so we can start spreading it around. Okay, you want it well floured. Okay. Just going to push that down, flatten it out. I'm going to use a rolling pin here. Again, you want to flour it so it doesn't stick. And start from the center and push out. Center and push out. Center and out. Okay, and you just want to go around and spread it as thin as you can. If you have a pasta machine, essentially it does the same thing. You're just going to put it through a few times and adjust the thicknesses on it as you go through. Again, I'm going old school here just to show you that you don't need a machine to do it. So we're almost there. You can see how it's getting almost see-through. Now that you have it all rolled out, cut the dough into 3-inch strips. You want to make them as even as possible because one's going to lay on top of the other. We're going to use a simple filling. The simple filling is going to contain just some plain cream cheese, some chopped cooked spinach, and some grated cheeses. You can add any other flavoring or seasoning spices you want. And you want to just put a $1 per ravioli right in the center, probably about 1 inch thick, 1 inch wide. Then we're going to take some water and just wet the outside of it just so it'll stick when we lay the top on it. We're also going to wet the top layer. I'm just going to wet the whole thing as we press it down. And when you lay it on top, you want to make sure that you try to get as much of the air out as you can just by pressing around the actual cheese and the filling. Press it all down. Then just cut right in the center here. And we're going to use a fork just to help press everything down. So before we start, we want to again make sure that it's all sealed up as best you can by pressing the edges down. And we're going to use the fork, press it down tight. Just go along the edges as if you were doing a pie or pie crust or decoration. Just press it down enough that it just seals it. And I'll continue doing the other two. We should be ready to get them cooked. Let them sit for a little bit just to kind of let them relax while the water's coming up to a boil. When you are putting them in, be very careful. You want to lay them in slowly and definitely don't overcrowd the pot. I'm only going to use put the 3 in right here, just enough for 1 plate. Cook for about 5 to 7 minutes or until they float up to the top. Give it an extra minute or so just to make sure that they're completely cooked. And make sure you strain them all out. As you can see, all the filling is intact. Nothing really came out because of the way we sealed them up. So now I'm just going to add some marinara sauce and basil, garnish, and we're ready to eat. If you like these type of videos, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification. That'll give you an update every time I put a new video out. Also, as always, appreciate your comments, and I'll see you in the next video.